The following episode of the 8 p.m. quiz may contain strong language, adult themes, and very bad jokes. Please approach it with care.
Hello, I'm starting a little bit early here, and that's not switching to the picture of me. This is really terrible, and I know why that is, because that's the button there. Isn't this ridiculous? And my headphones have fallen out, so obviously this is starting as it's going along. Welcome to the very first pilot episode of the 8 p.m. quiz. Let's call it the 8 p.m. quiz Series 1. Episode 1, there will be 3 episodes in this pilot series. I'm Stilgarian. I've started a few seconds early my end, but I think the lag and things will mean that, you know, it's starting on time at your end too. Have you poured yourself a drink? That's the important thing at this stage. I have a gin and tonic. Cheers. And I've just got a little sign saying that the quality of the video stream has been reduced slightly because there isn't quite enough bandwidth. I'm on Telstra 4G and it can't maintain a video stream on the uplink. I will look into that in future episodes. We have 31 people with us so far. I'll keep rabbiting on just for a couple of minutes until we get a few more people in. There are a few people wandering in, 32 now, which is great. What's going to happen tonight? It's a pub style quiz, right? You know how they work. They're really not that complicated. I'll ask questions, you'll answer them. If you have teams, let me know in the chat what your team names are. I haven't seen any go past just yet, but let me make that chat window a little bit bigger so I can see what's going on. Oberon's Ghost is pouring a gin to beer. Hi, Jono abroad. Ian Cath says I'm a trained professional. Ish. Hi to David Heath, long-time supporter. Chin Chim to Jim Campbell. KA's got a beer. What else have people got? Pete Sanderlands has a single malt in hand, so that's nice. And everyone's just generally joining the team. 37, and then some people bailed out. I don't know what's going on. You always get people popping into live streams and going, oh, I don't like that, and buggering off. What can you do? I will ask questions. You will answer them, either yourselves or a team. Don't put the answers in the chat. That's the most important thing. Don't do that. Write them down on a piece of paper or on your pad of eyes or whatever you have, and then there are 40 questions. After 20 questions, we'll have an intermission. Mark your questions then, your answers then, and then we'll go, recharge your drinks obviously, and then we'll go into the second batch of 20 questions. Little Giant says we are go. I'm hoping that's a team. Cara James is good to go. Ms. Cat's got fizzy water. And Nick Hodge, of course, is in his undies, ready for action. That's the kind of dedication we look forward to on this podcast. Hi to Pong in Bangkok. Lovely that you could join us. Peter McCrudden's team is the Devil's Codpiece, which is nice. Cara James says it's Saints and Sinners. Jason Brown has a Pirate Life sour beer over there. I will occasionally miss some people's comments as they go past. Sorry about that, but I mean, you can all watch them yourselves at home. And if it's really important, you could just repeat it to me. Father Carl, evening. Carl Sinclair just about to join in. That's lovely. Luke Fromhold, who haven't seen for ages. He's from the very early days in Twitter. In Sydney. Burmese Life is Ms. Cat's team name. That's lovely. Jason Brown, yes, it is on the honour system. You've definitely won. Yes, there's a word for people like you, but I won't use it in the live stream yet. We're a few minutes in, 44 people. Look, I think we do have a few more people coming. I'll just not go into the questions just yet. 2 more minutes, okay? You can cope with that. You've got drinks, you've got team members coming in, that sort of thing. I will say that this is an experiment. As I said, pilot series of 3 episodes, so I'm interested in your comments afterwards. I'm particularly interested to see what you think of the questions. They're obviously slanted towards my interests and not yours. I can never tell whether they're too hard or too easy or you know, baby bear right. When I did the sex trivia quiz on the night of the Queensland election, that was an audio live stream. Oh, people had so many problems with that one. Just a ridiculous amount of problems with it. So, look, we'll see how we go. I know some of them are quite easy. Some are a bit harder. We seem to be settling down into about 45 people on the stream. That's right. Let's have a look at some of the other team names. Beer helps confidence, says Datto Dude. Very true. Flobber Dobber Dobber has a team name, VNBT. Team Just Jim for Just Jim Campbell, obviously. And there's more. Team name, Lifts Glad Prove. All right, that probably means something. Sydney-wide, yes, a digital note-taking device is okay. It doesn't have to be paper. It can be a chalkboard. I mean, just something that allows you to keep track of information for half an hour or so. Okay. What else will I be doing in the future? Oh, look, I'll do the pass the plate stuff in the halftime break. And I will say I'll be experimenting around with the format over these 3 pilot episodes. It's the first time I've used all of this stuff together in one piece. So there will be more mistakes to go. Melbo Martin says he's happy to be a guinea pig. We're all happy to be guinea pigs when we sit and think about it, aren't we? Behind me, the curtains of mystery. Behind them, spiders, mostly. Dead flies. It's not very attractive. Where is Kate Carruthers, asks Ian Cath. That is an important question. But I think we do have to get on with the questions, don't we? So, as I said, 2 halves, 20 questions each, and we'll see how they go. And I will replace that that theme music because it's not really appropriate for a quiz, is it? But it's the only music I had. Don't my hands look big when I do that? Are you ready? Eyes down, ready to write. Question 1. This is a news round, by the way. 5 questions in the news round. Question 1. Jacob Chansley was in the news this week. Why? And for a bonus point, what does Jake eat? So Jacob Chansley, Chansley, who's in the news. Why was he in the news and what does he eat? Jacob Chansley. If you need a clue, his stage name is Jake Angeli. Angeli. The news reports are alternating between those 2 names. So Jacob Chansley, why was he in the news this week? That's question 1. Question 2. On Monday, German police arrested a 34-year-old Australian national near the German-Danish border. Why? I mean, apart from the obvious reason that, you know, if I were the German police, I'd arrest Australians if they were anywhere near the border. I mean, wouldn't you? But this particular 34-year-old Australian was arrested for a particular reason this week. Why was that? That's question 2. Question 3 is a picture question. Who are these 3 people? Oh, 2 people, sorry. It's question 3, 2 people. Jody Miner says no clues for the previous question. Fair enough. Okay, we'll see how I go. The difficulty with this is I have a distinct lag before I see your comments. But that's, you know, the nature of the medium, I guess. So yes, this is question 3. There are 2 people on there. One is easy, but I reckon it should be hard. The other is possibly hard, but I reckon it should be easy. So who are those 2 gentlemen there? That's good because I've got time to have a quick sip of my drink. That was question 3. Okay, question 4. In the Australian government, what does DTA stand for? DTA. Delta Tango Alpha. DTA. What does that stand for in the Australian government? Do let me know if you need more time to confer with teammates or things like that. It's very hard to judge how the lag is going. But, you know, you could sort this out. The man in black reckons of the 2 people knows the one and the other but doesn't have the name. That's the tricky bit, isn't it? We sort of see these people occasionally in the news, this chap. Both of those chaps have been in the news a bit lately, but, you know, one, as I said, is easy. We certainly know his name and we know what's happening in that photograph of him. I mean, it is a classy photograph of the guy on the left, isn't it? But the guy on the right, I reckon that's the tricky one. Okay, question 4, what does DTA stand for? Hola Schmola says, do we get points for getting everything wrong? Look, I think there needs to be some sort of there needs to be some sort of special prize. I don't know what that is. I haven't thought about prizes yet. This is just for the fun of it at the moment. Once we see how many people are joining things, I will say this is modelled a bit on Nick's pub quiz out of the UK. Some people will have heard me say that already. He has like a lovely assistant who brings it, his husband basically, who brings him drinks at half time, and also he has a friend who retypes the questions in the chat for people who missed them. So we might do that if we need to do that. Oh, that's for later. Question 5. Why did a manatee in Homosassa Springs, Florida make the news this week? So a manatee, it's like the American version of a dugong. It was in the news this week from a town called Homosassa Springs, as opposed to Straight Sassa Springs, in Florida, in the news this week. That's the first 5 questions. That's the news round. Sydney Wired, half a point for the job title rather than the name for 1 people, sure. Bonus point, how are they related? That's interesting. Are they related? Yeah, we'll see. We'll work on that when we come back and run through the answers. Okay. The next round is 3 questions on waxworks. Waxworks, things made from wax. So question 6, who are these 2 people? Well, they're waxworks, obviously, but they are waxworks of which 2 people? Ms. Cat says hasn't been paying attention to the same news I have this week. Father Carl says they aren't easy questions at all. Okay, I will bear that in mind. The news questions, okay, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. So anyway, on screen at the moment are two magnificent wax figures. Who are these two people? 1 point each. And there is a bonus point in this round, in this question. Where are these waxworks? So, a point for the woman on the left, a point for the man on the right, and 1 point for where these magnificent waxworks are. Question 7. Which of the following cities does not have a Madame Tussauds wax museum? So there are 5 cities. 4 of them do have a Madame Tussauds, 1 of them does not. And here they are in alphabetical order. Johannesburg in South Africa. Oops, I can't even read my own writing. The first one is Blackpool. Blackpool in the UK. Line breaks are terrible. I should have put them in a vertical list. Blackpool in the UK, Johannesburg in South Africa, Nashville in the United States, Sydney in Australia, and Wuhan in China. One of those cities does not have a Madame Tussauds wax museum. Blackpool, Johannesburg, Nashville, Sydney, and Wuhan. Holish Moller asks for the wax figures. Where do I mean by where? Country or location? Country will do for the point. I'll accept that. But really, questions on how to mark we'll come back to. Remind me if I forget them as we come back to them. Question 7. Which city does not have a Madame Tussauds? Blackpool, Johannesburg, Nashville, Sydney, or Wuhan? Question 8. Q8. What was Madame Tussauds' given name? What was Madame Tussauds' given name? I'll give you a clue. She's French, or was French. She's dead now. Quite dead. Very dead. Dead as only a dead French woman can be. So that was Waxworks. That was Q8. Now for Q9, which is about Q8. This is a media set of questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, I think, on things in the media. Q9. Which British-Irish comedian had a television series titled Q8? Which British-Irish comedian had a television series called Q8? Are people finding this tough? Is she a waxwork? I assume you mean Madame Tussauds, the man in black. No, she was a real woman. Lived to the age of 88, which was not a bad achievement for the time. Question 9. Which British-Irish comedian had a TV series titled Q8? Question 10. Who starred in all of the following films? This is one person, one actor, and I say that in a gender-neutral way. One actor starred in all of these films. Who was it? Oscar and Lucinda, Thor Ragnarok, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Aviator, and Mowgli Legend of the Jungle. Obviously, that last one's an animated film, so this actor was providing a voice only. So question 10, who starred in all of the following films? Oscar and Lucinda, Thor Ragnarok, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Aviator, and Mowgli Legend of the Jungle. How are we doing with that one? People's Film knowledge being okay. Peter Sandilands is asking, should that have been Q8? Q9 is about Q8. Q8 is about Madame Tussauds. Madame Tussauds. Q9 is about Q8. This is totally clear, surely. Question 10. Who starred in Oscar and Lucinda, Thor Ragnarok, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The AEDT, Aviator, Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle? Right. Now, question 11. Name these 3 songs. I'm going to play a very brief clip of 3 songs. I just want the names of the songs. So how did you go with them? Would you like to hear them again? Here we go. And do you need them a third time? I'm going to put my other earbud in. I was trying to keep it looking attractive, but I think it looks worse with it hanging down like that. Louder, please. How's that? Is that better? Oh, the songs. Sorry about that being way too quiet there. I'm still getting used to the setup, obviously. Let me just put this over here so I can make sure that I'm hearing them properly too. I'm going to play them, yeah, one more time. One more time. Here's the 3 songs. They're the 3 songs. Now, I can see KA saying the second song sounded different the first time. I'm pressing literally the same audio file each time. It is literally the same thing each time. Sorry about that. 3 songs. Are we going to need these again? I'll play them again at the end of the round before we mark them, okay? That was question 11. Name the 3 songs. Question 12. You're mostly Australians listening here. Watching here. It's not a podcast, it's a video stream, isn't it? There are mostly Australians watching. Okay. Question 12. In what year was the soap opera Neighbours first broadcast? Neighbours, right? Been going for a long time. How long's it been going? Shouldn't be too difficult. No need to apologise, KA. It's my fault for not having that music come through loud enough, and that's something I'll make a note of and fix next time. Meduva lackeys. Sorry about the rustling. I mean, you've got to be able to see my fluffy bits, right? It's not that fluffy. There's a fluffier one. I have a fluffier one. Question 12. In what year was the soap opera Neighbours first broadcast? Pete Lawler says 1437. I mean, it does feel like 1437, doesn't it? It was a very long time, but no, it is more recently than that. Question 13 is another picture question, another 3 people to identify. Who are these people? How good are they? How good are those people, do you think? Man in Black says that Neighbours is probably the most popular soap in England. I believe it is. I mean, it certainly was for a period there. I don't know whether it is still. If the Platypus were watching, he would know these things, but I don't think he's watching. Miss Cat lives near Ramsay Street. That's pretty excellent. Pete Lawler reckons these three people are Queen Elizabeth, Devine, and Miranda Devine. That is so close. So close. Wow. I'm also just going to quickly do something with the processing on my microphone because it's annoying me. Oh no, let's hear the slight background hiss when I turn that off. That's the fans in the computer. It's really not liking all this video stuff. Whereas if I do that, the hiss comes in when I speak. I don't know. Okay, who are these three people? They're all celebrities. The woman on the left, I've had to sort of check again. Like I wrote these questions yesterday and now I'm going, what, who's she again? Okay, that's the media ones. I think that's enough for the moment for the picture. Let me just turn that off. Okay, that's that. Round 4, or batch of questions for round 4 is old news. Not new news, old news. 5 questions here. Yeah, some of these are going to be a bit tough, I just realised. Yeah. Question 14. In what year was the Prophet Muhammad born in the current Western calendar that most of us use here? Now, I know that the exact year is not known when Muhammad was born, but there's a kind of a roundabout year that's the generally accepted one by historians. So I will accept within a certain margin of that. We'll see what happens when the answers come in, how generous I will be. So in what year was the Prophet Muhammad born? There is a way I can get rid of that hiss later, but I'll figure it out. Next time, write down fan hiss. Do your fans hiss or do they throw flowers? Question 15, or question 14, where Muhammad. Question 15, which came first, the Great Fire of London or the Spanish Armada's attempt to invade England? Two important Anglo-centric historical events. Don't worry, we will become not Anglo-centric increasingly as this quiz progresses over the coming weeks. Which came first, the Great Fire of London or the Spanish Armada and its attempt to invade England? You don't need to give me the years, just tell me which one came first. Toss a coin. Carl Singler's asking, I assume this is for Muhammad, can we be out by 200 years or so? I'm pretty much of the opinion that that is too many years. Yeah, that is too many years, Carl. Yeah, 200 years out. 1437 says Jody Miners. I don't know what that is. Could be anything. Isn't that Columbus? Peter McCrudden's throwing his knickers at the screen. This is excellent. This is the kind of thing we need. Question 15, which came first, the Great Fire of London or the Spanish Armada? Question 16, Tanzania, a country in Africa. It was formed by the merger of two other African nations at some point in the past. What were those two nations? 1 point for that. No, 2 points. One for each. So Tanzania was formed by the merger of two nations. What were those two nations? And a third point, a bonus point, what year did that merger happen? Tanzania, two countries, they merged. Who merged and when? No one expects the Spanish Armada. Yeah, I guess so. I love a literary reference, don't you? Tanzania is an island off the south coast of Australia. Yes. All right. So which two countries merged to create that Tanzania? Rid saying Gathquin's not a fan of Stilgherry in this, I can promise. Is Gathquin watching me on the television at the moment? That's kind of a bit of a hoot. Tanzania was question 16. Question 17, true or false? In World War II, Ireland was a neutral country. World War II, you remember that thing that happened? We kind of usually think of it as 1939 to 1945. If you're Chinese or Japanese, you probably think of it as starting a number of years earlier than that, certainly. But Ireland, you've heard of Ireland, haven't you? Ireland is a Tasmania south of Australia. See what it did there? Ah, dear. This is all very silly. I'm going to just excuse me for a moment here while I zoom out a bit so it's a bit easier for you to see my hands. Technology. There we go. Okay, there's a lot of Columbus-related stuff happening in the live chat. If you're watching this on the video repeat later up, thank you for joining us and seeing how it goes. I hope you're doing well with your numbers. And the live chat will replay in the same time, sync with the video as you're watching it. Although if you watch this sort of thing on YouTube frequently, then you already know that. Question 17, true or false, Ireland was neutral in World War II? And question 18, it's another pitch question. Here are three more people who are old news people. Who are these people? I'll just leave that sit there for a little while. Still a bit Anglosphere. I'll give you a clue that the left-hand person and the middle person were English speakers, broadly speaking. Chap on the right, less so. I don't actually know whether he could speak English or not. And it's not important for understanding the question, really. But he is quite an important historical figure. And while that's on screen, I can just scratch my ear and do other things. I can appear in the corner of the screen should I want, except, oh no, it doesn't work. That's because I haven't made it a thing. I know why. If I change the options, you know, just talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing this. The middle one is Kate Carruthers. Close, Nicole, very close. The middle one could very well be Kate Carruthers. I mean, it's not, but you know, you never know. Ah, that's what I need to do. The software I'm using doesn't necessarily allow me to. I'll stop asking about with that. Okay, are you oh, Cara James thinks the middle one is clearly Natalie Portman. Oh, I'm liking the thinking involved here. I mean, it's not. And no, Pete Law, the guy on the right, is not Doe. Oh, dear. All right, that's enough of those people, I think. Question 19. What is the common name of the creature whose scientific name is Dasyurus maculatus? Dasyurus maculatus. Dasyurus maculatus, maculatus. Dasyurus maculatus. It's probably going to help if I, get the whoa, jumping around. What's going on here? If I get the name right. I mean, it could be Carrie Fisher, the man in black. The hair, very Princess Leia. Okay, that's a thing. So anyway, I've scrolled past my thing. Dasyurus maculatus. What is that critter? That's the critter question. Question. Pete Lawler, careful there, careful. Yellow card. That's question 19. And question 20, the final question in section 1, part 1. Who am I? Not who am I, who am the I that I am now going to talk about. Of course, Carrie Fisher has a scientific name, Pete Lawler. Just figured out what it is. Question 20, who am I? I was born in 1964 in the Upper East Side of Manhattan in New York, but I am not an American, at least not now. I've worked as a journalist and as the editor of a conservative magazine. In my current job, I was preceded by someone with the initials TM. I have an unknown number of children. No, I won't do that last clue, unless you look like you're really struggling. I was born in 1964, Upper East Side of Manhattan in New York City, but I'm not an American, at least not an American now. I've worked as a journalist and as the editor of a conservative magazine. In my current job, my predecessor's initials were TM, and I have an unknown number of children. Oberon's ghost is telling me that the pronunciation is Dasyurus. I suppose it is. Dasyurus maculatus was the critter for question 19. And question 20 was the who am I? Have you got that now? No, I'm not Tony Abbott. I'm not wearing Speedos for starters. No, I've got no Speedos on. Okay, you ready to rock and roll? I'm going to take that as a yes. Let me scroll back. Okay, have your counting apparatus ready, and let's go through the points. Question 1, who is Jacob Chansley? Why was he in, well, right, what? Hola Schmoller says no. What is no to? You're not ready. You're not anything. Is that good? I'm going to mark the questions now. Okay, you be ready. I'll mark your answers. Question 1, Jacob Chansley, stage name Jake Angeli. Why was he in the news? That's why he was in the news. That is Jake Angeli, Jacob Chansley. So 1 point if you knew that he was one of the rioters with horns. I think I think it's important to mention that he was the one with horns. Half a point if you knew he was one of the rioters or invaders of the US Congress. Half a point for that. A whole point for knowing that he was the one with the buffalo horns. And the bonus point, what does Jake eat? The answer is Jake eats only organic food. And apparently it's a religious thing, and he complained in the jail, and his mom went to the judge, and now he's able to get his organic food in jail. Question 2, on Monday, German police arrested a 34-year-old Australian. It's because he's alleged to have run Dark Market, one of the old dark web markets. I hate the word dark web, whatever, but we're stuck with it. Dark Market had 500,000 users, more than 2,400 vendors worldwide selling, you know, drugs, illicit stuff, child porn probably. I don't know whether child porn was in the mix, but certainly drugs. He was arrested in Oldenburg in Germany, just as 20 servers that are alleged to be involved in this were seized in Moldova and, is it Moldova or Moldova? And Ukraine. And it's worth noting that last year Europol said that the golden age of dark web markets is over. And it certainly does seem to be the case, doesn't it, with so many of them being taken out. So a point there if you knew that it was about the dark web at a market, and that's why he's arrested. Question 3 was the picture round. On the left, 1 point for Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, personal lawyer for Donald J. Trump, the man with the melting hair. And on the right, another point for this, that's Malaysian Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. Half a point if you said Malaysian Prime Minister, but for the full point you need his name, Muhyiddin Yassin. And it's interesting this week, why is he in the news? Well, this week his government collapsed. A lot of support in the what it's called, a coalition was pulled out because the day before he just got asked and got Malaysia's king to sign off on his declaration of an emergency through until August. Now that's to deal with the coronavirus, but as you obviously can imagine, in Malaysia, declaring a state of emergency has kind of different implications than it does for here in Australia. Same deal, the politicians have massive powers that they can just use, but yeah, in Malaysia that's a lot more sensitive. So worth watching that for some of the fallout there. So that 2 points there, half a point if you knew it was the PM of Malaysia. Question 4. Australian government, DTA is the Digital Transformation Agency, the people who brought you COVID Safe app and other such wonderful things. 1 point, let's move on. And question 5, why did a manatee in Homosassa Springs, Florida make the news this week? 1 point for this, someone had carved the word Trump in its back. Yeah, a trumpeter carved the... Look, I will show you this news story. It's a thing.
You've likely seen this image right here on your social media feed, a manatee here in the Bay Area with the word Trump carved into its back. Now there's a $5,000 reward to help catch the person who did this. Haley Warrington took the video, and she says she spotted the manatee yesterday afternoon during a manatee swim tour in Homosassa Springs. She tells us the manatee was asleep in shallow water at the time. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is working with the Florida Fish and Wildlife on this investigation. And since manatees are a protected species, harassing one is a federal crime that could be punished with prison time.
Just learning there what happens at the end of the video, and I haven't got it set to automatically switch back to the camera. There you go. See, in proper television, you have like a whole heap of people to do this shit for you. Some of you may remember the live stream Stilgarian Live back in the day. I will not look up to see what years that was, but more than 10 is the answer. Live streamed in magnificent about 640 by 480 resolution or something. If you're lucky, I think it was sometimes even half that. Really quite embarrassing. Carving Trump into the manatee got you a point. There's a $5,000 reward out, as you heard. Question 6. Who are these two people in the waxworks? Would you believe Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy? I kid you not. Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. And the bonus point was where are those waxworks? Brazil. I'll take a point for Brazil on that. They're actually in a local church that decided to make a bit of money by creating a waxworks. And I'm sure you would love to see a brief video with some more of those waxworks. Have a look at these.
A1. Ao todo, são 20 esculturas expostas no mezanino da igreja. O artista procurou um ícone de cada área. Martin Luther King, Ayrton Senna, Albert Einstein, Chico Xavier, Mahatma Gandhi, Hebe Camargo, Elvis Presley, Lady Di, Santos Dumont, Marilyn Monroe, John Kennedy, Nelson Mandela, Zilda Arnes, Charlie Chaplin, Mazzaropi, Dom Helder Câmara, um dos fundadores da CNBB, a Confederação dos Bispos do Brasil, Padre José Hérions, primeiro pároco de Rolândia, e na parte inferior, mais perto dos fiéis, o Papa João Paulo II e o Papa Francisco.
Gorgeous. Question 8. What was Madame Tussauds' given name? It was Marie. Marie Tussaud. And she's older than certainly I thought. She was born in 1761, moved to London and created the first wax museum there in 1835. She died in London in 1850 at the age of 88, as I said earlier. Oh, I've skipped a question. Some fucking church in South America. No, I'm not going to take that, the man in black. Sorry. Yes, 1 point per wax person. I should scroll back and see that you've all got that. When I get to the marking, and if I skipped any of your questions, just repeat them. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Sorry, question 6 was the two people, Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy, 2 points, and Brazil for a third point. Question 7, which I accidentally forgot there. Yes, question 7, it's happening. Which of these 4 cities does not have a Madame Tussauds? And I said Blackpool, Johannesburg, Nashville, Sydney, Wuhan. The answer is Johannesburg for 1 point. There's in fact no Madame Tussauds anywhere in Africa at all, which surprised me. I thought there would at least be one in South Africa, but no, none in Africa at all. There's 4 in China, in Beijing and Shanghai, as you might guess. One in Wuhan, which is what I learned while writing this question. And the 4th one is in Chongqing, a city you may not have heard of because its population is only 30 million. We really don't know our cities in China, do we? And I reckon you should study up for that for next week. Geography of China. Largest and most populous country in the world, our largest trading partner, second biggest economy in the world. I think we deserve to know a little bit more, or we have a responsibility to know a little bit more about China than we do. So Johannesburg was the answer there for 1 point. Question 8, Madame Tussauds' given name was Marie, as I said. Question 9, which British-Irish comedian had a TV series titled Q8? The answer is Terence Allen Milligan, better known as Spike Milligan. Had a series called Q7 for some reason to begin with, and then the second series was called Q8, and he had lots of bad puns about Kuwait, the country. It's as absurd as Spike Milligan stuff always was. There's a lot of it you couldn't broadcast now. Some of it is just appallingly racist, like the one about Irish astronauts. And the one about the Pakistani Daleks. Yeah. Thing of its time, the absurdism certainly comes through, but yeah. That aired in 1978, for those looking it up. It's probably on the Sheep Tunnel as we speak. As I speak, right now I am on the Sheep Tunnel talking to you. Question 10, who starred in Oscar and Lucinda, Thor Ragnarok, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Aviator and Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle? Kate Blanchett. Point for Kate Blanchett. And name these 3 songs. So this is what you heard. No, you didn't hear that. You heard this. Well, I slipped there. Here's the longer ones. The first one was Venga Boys' We Like to Party, or the Venga Bus. We like to party. Then it's Major Lazer and DJ Snake. The song is called Lean On. For the Venga Boys, I'll accept that We Like to Party or the Venga Bus. And the final one, AC/DC with Jailbreak. I didn't go all the way to the chorus, sorry, but I really don't know how much I can get away with playing before the Sheep Tunnel's automated copyright bots vaporise me and send my ashes in a small plastic bag to my friends and relatives. As an aside, there is actually... hang on, I'll do the thing. We Like to Party / the Venga Bus, Lean On and Jailbreak were what we were looking for to there. So that's 3 points. There is now in Australia a relatively inexpensive music license you can get for small audience podcasts and or live streams. And I'm thinking of getting it for this year. For podcasts, if you're under a certain size, which I am, it's like $275 a year if you have less than 40% music in each episode, which I will. And for live streams, it's the same, and I'm again well under the kind of numbers we're talking about. So thinking about that, I'll hit you up for money in due course. Question 12, in which year was the soap opera Neighbours first broadcast? 1985, a point there for 1985. Jason Brown says, will he be deported if he points out that all AC/DC's intros sound exactly the same? Gee, that's pretty fucking close to treason, mate. That's the first time I've sworn in this episode. There'll be more to come. Sorry, Jason. Yeah, you're gone. Melba Martin says he's gone. Half a point for getting the band. Sorry, David Stockton. Wasn't looking for the bands. That's the hard part, right? You immediately hear the sound, right? It's AC/DC, Akadaka, but like, which song is this? Maybe Jason Brown's got a point. No half points for Akadaka. Sorry. Question 12, neighbours, 1985, 1 point. Question 13 was a picture question. On the left, Katy Perry. In the middle, Meat Loaf. And on the right, Dame Olivia de Havilland, who was the designer of the Mosquito aircraft. No, she was not. She was a British-American actress who appeared in 49 films between 1935 and 1988. Very prolific. Very beautiful woman, isn't it? So Katy Perry, Meat Loaf, and Olivia de Havilland, 1 point each. Question 14, in which year was the Prophet Muhammad born? 570 in the Common Era, or Anno Domini, as Father Carl would say. Approximately 570. So I will accept anything within 9 years. So anything from 561 to 579. Is that okay? And half a point if you're between 551 and 589. Yeah. So 1 point for within 9 years of 570 and half a point if you're within 19 years of 570. Question 15, which came first, the Great Fire of London or the Spanish Armada's attempt to invade England? 1 point for the Spanish Armada, which was in 1588, or at least 1588 was when they sailed from Corunna. And the Great Fire of London was 1666. 2nd to 6th of September, in fact, burnt for 4 days. So 1 point for Spanish Armada. Question 16, Tanzania was formed by the merger of Tanganyika, 1 point, and the People's Republic of Zanzibar and Pemba. I'll give you the point for Zanzibar, or it was really by then called Unguja and Pemba. Unguja is the name of the larger island, which was called Zanzibar, still called Zanzibar, but it's Unguja in, I think that's Swahili. Been a lovely place. So Tanganyika and Zanzibar, 1 point each, and the year of their merger, 1964. Possibly later than you thought. A lot of the British colonies in Africa decolonised in 1960, 1961. And in fact, Tanganyika decolonised in 61 and Unguja and Pemba in 63. But the two countries merged to form Tanzania in 64 for your third point. Question 17, true or false? In World War II, was Ireland neutral? The answer is true. In fact, Ireland has been neutral in international relations, or really in military terms, since the 1930s. It's never joined NATO and was kind of a little aloof during the Cold War through the whole thing. So question 17, 1 point for true. Question 18 was another picture question. Who are these people? On the left, 1 point each for these. Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States. He's on the $10 bill, I think. In the middle, Ada Lovelace, or if you prefer, Augusta Ada King, Countess of Lovelace, who is the world's first computer programmer. She worked out how to write programs for Charles Babbage's difference engine. So yes, we count her as the first computer programmer, which is why the programming language Ada is named after, and so on. And on the right, Michinomiya Hirohito, the 124th Emperor of Japan. Hirohito is good for a point. Emperor of Japan, half a point? Yeah, why not? There you go. Question 19. What is a Dasyurus maculatus? The answer is a quoll, Quoll. Would you like to see or I should say specifically the tiger quoll or spotted tail quoll? Quoll will do. There are several species of quoll, 6 from memory. So quoll for point for 19. Would you like to see a picture of a quoll? Yes, you would. Here's a quoll seen at Bunbury Cottages, just outside my front door. It's a little bit skinny, but that was during the drought. I suspect they're a bit fatter now. So there's a quoll. Lovely thing. And finally, question 20 for a point. Boris Johnson was born in 1964 in Manhattan, worked as a journalist, editor of a conservative magazine, which is The Spectator. In his current job was preceded by TM Theresa May, and does indeed have an unknown number of children. And the clue I skipped was my look has been described as semi-shambolic. I don't know why there's a semi in that. So, add them up, ladies and gentlemen. Or before you do that, let's run through. I've missed all the previous questions, so if you have any marking questions you want to toss in, do them now. There's, by my count, a possible 31 points in that first half. Show us your quoll. I showed you my quoll, Pete Lawler. No, it hasn't stalled. I'm just here. Oh, a question for you, by the way. Are my lips out of sync with the audio? Because if so, I'll do some tests later up because I can adjust that, slip the audio and the video and resync them for the next episode and see how we go. I'm a bit unimpressed that the low link speed slowed me down here. I'm going to see if I can... right, the stream's already started, so I can't change its... I can't change its settings once the stream has started. Jody says she got less than half right. Yeah, I'm possibly going a little too harsh here. Pete Lawler says I'm totally out of sync. Although for Egerton in sync, Saints and Sinners got 12 out of 31 with Father Carl. Peter McCrudden 10. Did anyone get 9 for David Heath? Did anyone get over 15? Did anyone get over 15? 16 for Jason Brown in Lift's Glad Prove. That's impressive by the looks. Okay, so Sid Wise said, my lips are not out of sync with the audio, but I'm seeing the chat a lot later than intended. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Bren got 16. Excellent. Muzcat 13. Father Carl, I'm perfectly in sync. The Lord is with me, Father Carl. I don't know whether he bothers with all of these low-scale things, but there you go. And you did quite well. Pete Sanderland's 13. Excellent. Okay, look, I've gone for an hour here now. I will power through the rest. There's another half to go there, but intermission? No, I'm not going to play a sting. I hate the music for this. The music goes with the 9 p.m. edict, not this. So I will say that while you're adding up your scores and do that, the housekeeping, Little Giants, 18, awesome work. 16, okay, good. I will be... Jim, no, you can't just arbitrarily double your score. There's another half. I should speed up. I want to say this, like all of my things, is going to be supported by you, which is how it happens. This episode, or at least since I did the end of year, the 9 p.m. edict, I want to say thank you to Anthony Bevan, who says, "Here you go, smartass, do something good with the money," which I will, mate, I will. Someone called Ben, thank you, Ben. Irish Warnke has been wonderfully generous, thank you, Iris. Jordan Whiteman, thank you. Keith Duddy, regular contributor, thank you, Keith. Mark Jerry has taken out a new subscription, thank you very much. Subscriptions are good, you get some extra benefits, which one day I'll eventually get around to doing something with. Simon Harris, long-time friend and supporter of the pod, thank you, Simon. And one person who'd like to remain anonymous, we always respect that, thank you to that person. Actually, one more person, Jono Ferguson, who is on the channel tonight. He's there. I know he's there. He paid me a few bucks to say Western Australians are cunts, because he's in New Zealand and wants me to start early, and the West Australians are in Western Australia and want me to start 8, because we're spread across currently 5 hours of time zone. I've kind of stayed with Eastern Australia as because A, that's where I am, right, and B, it's still kind of in the middle of all that. We'll see how that goes. So, just for a moment, I'm going to give you a quick break to refresh your drink, and I have to unplug because it's not a radio mic, and go and refresh my drink. So while that is happening, here is a picture of a shark, which will obviously help. I will unplug my mic. That was a bit rough. Note to self. Play that down. So I'm basically going to make myself an old fashioned. So I'm going to go over and get ice from the fridge for that. Hello, I put a microphone over here by the fridge. This is called planning ahead. So I need to get... Oh, I didn't bring that thingy. Okay, right. So, to make this happen, I need some ice in the mixing thingy. And I've got a chilled glass in the fridge where I'll put a one large rock. I'll put that in the right glass. So I did in the mixing glass, and now I will come back over to the main area here. This is very professional, isn't it? God, I'm going to have to do a bathroom break in a second too. Of course, if I was a real professional, hang on, let me just plug my, what am I doing here? Plug my microphone back in over here. Right, I should be sounding kind of normal again at this point. What we have here, good shark footage, isn't it? I really like this shark footage. Okay, right. I will need mixing glass. I will need 2 shots. You'd prefer to keep watching the shark while I'm doing this, wouldn't you? 2 shots of rye whiskey. This is the Gospel Solera rye from Melbourne. 2 shots of that and a bit for the gods. 10 ml of sugar syrup. Another supporter of the pod, actually one supporter of the pod sent me the whiskey, and then we were discussing old fashions online, and someone else sent me all the rest of the making. So Yeah, 2 shots of the rye. This is 10 ml of simple sugar syrup. I was going to make some the other day, but this lovely person sent me a bottle of it pre-made, which is very luxurious. What else have I got to put in there? Oh, I was about to say Worcestershire sauce. No, Angostura bitters. There's a mistake you can make. 4 blops of that and 1 on the keyboard. That's very classy. Let me just sort that out. Oh dear. And that's all in there. So this is a stirred, not a shaken cocktail. My shark has stopped. The shark is meant to repeat. There we go. Another thing. I've set that shark to loop. I thought I had set it to loop, Pete. You can stir this as long as you like. I mean, the ice is in it, so it's diluting it down, which is fine. Cocktail strainer. And lovely. And there we have hey, no, you don't want that. You want that. An old fashioned. Lovely. Is that going to focus? Yeah, kind of. I'm a bit sorry that video's gone a bit shit, but there you go. Cheers. Oh, yeah. I forgot to say where to find to support the podcast, but it's stilgarian.com/tip. I can see that some of you have already figured that out because you've probably done it before. Stilgarian.com/tip. If you're on the YouTube, which of course you are because you're watching this, the link is down there, as they say. Like, subscribe, ring that bell. Right, ready for part 2. Let's do, yep, we're good. Let's do part 2. And what we have now is the platypus round. And for some reason, that is showing the wrong camera source in there. So that's really quite annoying. I don't know why we've got that. I know why. I need to unlock that. I need to... See, that's what's meant to happen at this point. This is the platypus round. The snarky platypus has provided 4 questions for us. And since he chooses not to expose himself in this sort of fashion, let's zoom in a bit and down. Okay. Good platypus, isn't it? San Diego Zoo. Do that. Question 21. How many provinces does Canada have? I almost said Canberra. Question 21. How many provinces does Canada have? If I was being cruel, I'd say name them, but I'm not. How many provinces does Canada have? Question 22. In which English city is the football club Aston Villa based? See, there is a sports question. This is one of 2 sports questions in the entire thing. I know some of you will be hanging out for better sports questions, but here we go. In which English city is the football club Aston Villa based? That's question 22. I will say I haven't fact-checked the platypus questions. The platypus questions could be completely fictional. Nice platypus swimming around anyway. Question 22, Aston Villa. Question 23, tennis player Rod Laver. And what's good is that Platypus didn't say that Rod Laver was a tennis player. I knew that myself. Rod Laver famously won 2 calendar year Grand Slams, apparently. He famously did that. One was in 1962, was the first one. And what year was the second one? So the year in which Rod Laver won his second calendar year Grand Slams. So I understand, therefore, must be other ways of counting Grand Slams, right? This is calendar years. Rhombus Isotope says there are too many provinces in Canada. Well, I think it's just probably the right amount to fill the country, but you never know. Rod Laver question 20. Question 24, which Spice Girl is the only one not to have had a UK #1 solo single? So Spice Girls, you know who they are. There are a number of them. 5, was it? Anyway, all of them have had a UK #1 solo single, except which one? That's question 24, and that is the end of the Platypus round. Whoa, that comes later. I have put the wrong thing in. Oh, I see what's going on. We will come back to that picture in a little while. The software has the ability to lock different scenes, different segments, different preset image combinations. And what has happened is that I have locked some things in the wrong state. That's the wrong state of the scenes, not the wrong state. I mean, I'm in the right state for this. I'm in absolutely the right state. 5 questions now, geography round. 5 questions. Come on, geography. You should know this. Financial year Grand Slams, why not? Lunar calendar Grand Slams. Okay, question 25, where is the Limestone Coast? Where is the Limestone Coast? And for a bonus point, what is its famous big thing? Gee, that's almost a kind of clue. So where is the Limestone Coast? I will need a descriptor of the region. So naming a country or a province or state of that country will not be sufficient. You need to narrow it down just a little bit more. The Limestone Coast, where is it? And what is its most famous big thing? And a clue, it was not the pineapple. Someone asked about, where is it? Adam Fitzpatrick, the noise was the water in the Platypus video. Yes, that's true. There was one shot in the video which was right next to running water, and suddenly the audio came up, and I should say I ran out of time to fix that. The reality is I just couldn't be asked. So yeah, sorry about that. I should have fixed it. I forgot it was, anyway. Where's the Limestone Coast? Question 25. Question 26, New Zealand question. I'm going to give you a list of 5 place names in New Zealand. And this is straightforward. You just have to tell me whether they're in the North Island or the South Island. Yep, New Zealand's got 2 main islands, North or South. Here are 5 things. 1, Christchurch, the city Christchurch. You recall there was an earthquake there, a couple of earthquakes. And that appalling massacre the other year. Christchurch, North or South. Number 2, the Marlborough district, North or South. That's the famous winemaking district, very good crisp white wine, although it's kind of become a bit cliched now. But Marlborough wine, North or South. Number 3, the Canterbury Bight, B-I-G-H-T, you know, the kind of large bay thing. The Canterbury Bight, North or South. Number 4, Portsmouth, north or south, and number 5, Hastings. I'll give you a little time to confer. I'll run through the 5 again. Christchurch, the Marlborough District, Canterbury Bight, Portsmouth, and Hastings. Now, just to see how bad the lag is for you people on the comments, I'm going to say, tell me when you see me say this now, and I will see when your comments come out. I'll run through the New Zealand ones again because you may not have necessarily heard them all very quickly. North or South Island, Christchurch, the Marlborough District, Canterbury Bight, Portsmouth, and Hastings. Now says that is about 30 seconds. Pete Lawler sort of got that. He's on about 30-second delay till, yeah, they're all coming in now, between 30 and 40 seconds by the looks. So I'll have to bear that in mind. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, coming up to a minute now. Jim, going a minute. Yeah, that's a minute. Wow. Okay. I'm not surprised. Yeah, more than a minute. Got your 5 place names in New Zealand down, have you? North or South? Christchurch, the Marlborough District, Canterbury Bight, Portsmouth, and Hastings. Question 27. Tanzania again. Ha ha ha. Look, it's just, I've been there very briefly, more than 10 years ago now. 13 years, I want to say. And obviously, having done so, I am now I was there for 10 days, so obviously now having been in one African country for 10 days, I am an expert on all African affairs. Question 27, Tanzania. Name the countries that share a land border with Tanzania. I'll give you a clue, Tanzania is on the central east coast of Africa. There's 7 points up for grabs here. 1 point for each of the 7 countries that share a land border with Tanzania. So, yeah, I want to go back there. The journey I had was with an aid organisation, ActionAid, and for various reasons, it turned out not to be as organised as well as one would have hoped, given the flexible circumstances that unfolded once I was in country with other people who had different goals. Still working for ActionAid, still doing media things, but different KPIs, different missions, and there were difficulties in some people's minds about adapting to change. Anyway, look, apart from that, it was fantastic and I love the place. I'd love to go back and see what the projects I saw have accomplished. I, in a sense, enjoyed the drunken policeman with the loaded firearm being waved at us because he alleged we were speeding. I loved the experienced war zone photographer who happened to be with us, translating from Swahili what the drunken policeman was saying and giving us a go code, so if it got gnarly, we would kick out the back window of the minibus and just run for it. And I thought that was good because we would be somewhere on Zanzibar, I'm not quite sure where, on the run from the police. So that would be good. The good thing about that cop, he was so drunk he eventually forgot why he'd pulled us over and just got angry for us disrupting his afternoon and waved us on. I think what he'd originally planned to do was demand a bribe, but because that was the whole thing, but he was so drunk he forgot to actually get the bribe out of us. Tanzania, it shares a border with 7 countries. No, Cara James, one of them is not Wakanda. I understand that's to do with a film of some sort, which I haven't seen, but I can tell you now, it is not that. Nor is it Chad. Chad is not one of them. Portugal is not one of them. Tajikistan is not one of them. But there are 7. That's question 27. Question 28. In which country would you find the temple known as Angkor Wat? What means temple? So the temple known as Angkor, I suppose. In what country would you find that temple, Angkor? Angkor Wat is in which country? Again, it's not Chad, it's not Tajikistan, it's not Portugal. Question 28, in which country would you find Angkor Wat? I suspect some of you might have even been there. If so, you will know. Well, you might remember. Question 29, which is the world's 2nd deepest ocean trench? So the deepest one is the Marianas Trench, and the actual deepest spot is called Challenger Deep. That's off the Philippines, isn't it? What's the 2nd deepest one? Just the name of it. Don't want to know how deep it is. Don't even really want to know where it is, although I will tell you. But what is it? That's question 29. So that's the geography round. Question 30 kicks off the world affairs round. 5 questions here as well. Question 30, who is the current Secretary General of the United Nations? And a clue, it's not Gareth Evans, and it's not Kevin Rudd, and it's not Boris Johnson. Who is the current Secretary General of the United Nations? Carver, Secretary General of the United Nations. We should know this stuff, right? It's like the questions before about the Malaysian Prime Minister. We should know about Australia's role in the world. So part of this quiz is not just for you to have an amusing night in, drinking and listening to me shit on. It's to learn something. It's to be reminded that we all really need to do better. I really need to be a little bit. Let's see. That's better. See, the trick for composing this stuff is you just want, ideally, the eye level around about 2/3 up, head there. If you're doing like a more desk thing, you can do that. Now, I haven't done that. Because, he says, scratching his ear, camera positioning shit, but also it would show how fucking fat I've gotten over the lockdown. I mean, how much weight have you put on during the corona times, right? It's really quite embarrassing. Question 30, who is the current Secretary General of the United Nations? Celeste Barber, says Sydney Watt. That is awesome. Or Mark Latham is another suggestion in the chat. That. Bren says, so happy you can't see how I'm spelling these answers. That is fine too. We don't have to know. I'm not checking your spelling. Yeah, I think with this one I would be fairly thin. Anyway, question 30, who's the current Secretary General of the United Nations? Question 31, what is the 9 dash line? This is a world affairs round. What is the 9 dash line? Yes, Lagaturn, or is that Iagaturn? Can't tell with the sans serif font whether that is an I or a lowercase l. Iagaturn, I will go with didactic mode now. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. You know, if you're going to watch this, you're going to get a little bit of my brain shoved right into you. Question 31, what is the 9 dash line? And again, it's a major thing that is shaping certain aspects of world affairs and has done for a number of years. We need to know what it is. Question 31, what is the 9 dash line? You know it or you don't, I think, with that question. Question 32, this, as I say, is a world affairs round. Which of these 5 countries has never hosted a Eurovision Song Contest? I'm betting that more people will get this right than the 9 dash line or the Secretary General of the United Nations. Anyway, the 5 countries are Albania, again in alphabetical order, Albania, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Estonia, and Serbia. So I'll read them again. Albania, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Estonia, and Serbia. One of those 5 countries has not hosted a Eurovision Song Contest. Question 33. Look, I'll run through those countries again. Look, Eurovision. Albania, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Estonia, Serbia. All but one have hosted a Eurovision Song Contest, a point for the one that does not. Question 33. Who is the Finance Minister of Azerbaijan? Oh, sorry. Who is the Finance Minister of Australia? Had you worried there? The Finance Minister of Azerbaijan, by the way, is Samir Sharifov. Should you run into him? But who is the Finance Minister of Australia? It's not Kate Blanchett. And it's not Samir Sharifov because he's the Finance Minister of Azerbaijan. There's really no one else left, right? I mean, you have to get this. I mean, if it's not Kate Blanchett. Richard Roxburgh, perhaps. Question 33, who is the Finance Minister of Australia? Question 34, this is a serious one. China, as you probably know, is notorious for its ongoing suppression of the Turkish Uyghur people. In fact, some people might even call it a genocide. The Uyghur people primarily live in the Chinese autonomous region named what? What is the region in China which has most of the Uyghur population? Yeah, autonomous region, just like Hong Kong was an autonomous region. And we all know what's happening there. Just, yeah, if you want to cheer yourself up, just look to see what's happening in this region. That's question 34 about the Uyghurs. That ends the World Affairs round. And finally, the final round for 5 questions. This is a bit of a mess. 5 questions. Okay, let's go through these. I have obviously made all this too complicated and too hard. I'd hoped to knock it off in 60 to 90 minutes. We've just clocked the 90-minute mark. People, autonomous region of Tibet. Yeah, that's yeah, that one's a bit special as well. Same deal. Plastic surgery. I just suck out. Anyway. Question 35. I'm going to read you some names of things, and these are all varieties of something. These are varieties of what? Autumn Red, Duke of York, Suncrest, Belle of Georgia, Nectar, and Arctic Supreme. They're all varieties of something. It's something that you will definitely have encountered at some point in your life. You can even buy them at your local supermarket. These are varieties of them. Autumn Red, Duke of York, Suncrest, Belle of Georgia, Nectar, I think that one's a clue, and Arctic Supreme. And I'm going to give you a clue, I think. Yeah. Clingstone. And I won't say that again. Autumn Red, Duke of York, Suncrest, Belle of Georgia, Nectar and Arctic Supreme. What are they all kinds of? Question 35. Question 36. How many moons does the planet Saturn have? How many moons does Saturn have? And this is according to the latest official information from, I assume it's from the IAU, the International Astronomical Union. I'll give you the important background information that the number changed relatively recently, last month in fact, with the addition of some new moons. So how many moons does Saturn have? Pete Lawler says a fuckload. Well, that is true. Saturn has a fuckload of moons. The question is, how big a fuckload? As of, what's today, the 14th of January 2021. Unless they've discovered any more in a couple of hours. Yeah. That's question 36, moons of Saturn. Question 37, another picture question. And, oh, I see what's happened. It's question 37, but I've labelled the image question. No, fuck that up. What's that? No, I have forgotten to load this question in. This will take just a brief moment for me to find the correct image to show you for question 37. Oh dear. That's question 37. As Kat notes, these would be heaps easier if they are multiple choice. Point noted. Yeah, Ms. Kat, I really should have done Saturn as... all right, look, I can do that. Here we go. Here we go. We will redo the question about Saturn's moons, question 36. And let me just write this down so I know what the hell I've told you. Saturn, talk amongst yourselves. Saturn is the answer 35, 47, or 82. 82, yes. 35, 47, and 82. Moon to Saturn. Back to question 37. Who are these three ladies? 1 point each. I'll leave that up for a little while. The woman on the left is not... who is she not? Not Madonna. The woman in the middle is not Uma Thurman. And the woman on the right is not Dame Judi Dench. Okay. I'll leave that up for a bit because you may, you know, and again, I wish there was a way of working around the lag, because given that it takes about a minute for you to get back to me, I can't really say after, 15 seconds, do you think you need a bit of a clue, because by then I've really wanted to move on and it just drags it out. It would be great if Australia had a good internet, of course. I mean, the fact that I am on a 4G connection and yet the software decided that I could not maintain a 1080p upload upstream, that is really a bit shit. So, I mean, noted, absolutely noted. I don't know what I'm going to do about it, because I'm yeah, I'll think of it. Anyway, who are these three wonderful ladies? All very famous. All extremely successful in their own fields. Flobberdobberdobber says they're all the same woman but with different diets. Oh, that is cruel. The man in black says these women are... No, okay, he's got a controversial suggestion there. You'll have to look at the live chat to see what that suggestion is. And while that's on screen, this is terrible. I really did need to take that bathroom break, so I will unplug myself for a moment and leave you to chat amongst yourselves for a minute, and I will be a radio person and as quick as possible. Rightio, how are you doing there? Let me just plug my earbuds back in. Just for the amusement value, I will mention that if you've been listening to my podcast, The 9 PM Edict, for a while, you will know that I had the 9 PM End of Spring series just before Christmas, and then with an end of year wrap just after. I will say now that in one of those episodes, while I was recording the remote interview, I did need to piss into a cup under my desk. That's how it works. Anyway, who are these? No, Jim Campbell. I don't have a radio mic, so I'm actually tethered with a 2-metre cable just plugged in, but my lavalier mic is in fact plugged directly into the mixer. So who are these three ladies? I think you've had enough time with that. And here I am, freshly relieved. I don't know how some people do this. It's gone on longer than I thought. And I've reached a certain age where that long without the bathroom, mate. Question 37, those three ladies. Question 38, Dale Oliver was in the news this week. Why? What did he do? And I'll tell you, Dale Oliver is from Knockrow, which is near Ballina, about 750 kilometres north of Sydney. Why was he in the news this week? Rhombus Isotope says only a cap of piss under the table. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? It's only a little bit each time. So the whole... Listen to my previous podcast, the 9 p.m. prostate exam, or whatever it was called. Who? Dale Oliver is the person. Dale Oliver was in the news this week. Maybe the name isn't important, but what did he do is the thing. He's from Knockrow near Ballina, about 750 kilometres north of Sydney. So what would a man in that location do in recent days that made the news? If you are watching really carefully, you will have seen the answer to this. I gave away the Johannesburg thing earlier, didn't I? Because I read the fucking answer line before the question. How many of you worked out the Johannesburg thing because I said Johannesburg before listing the other cities? No, Pete Lawler, he didn't fuck... Well, Dale Oliver may have fucked a sheep. I suspect not. And indeed, that the important thing for the purposes of this quiz is that is not why he was in the news this week. Question 38. Yes, this is question 38. Dale Oliver in the news. What did he do this week? He's from Knockrow near Ballina, about 750 kilometres north of Sydney. Is that it? Okay, I'll come to question 39. I love this one. What city is this? I'll leave this on the screen for a while. You tell me what city it is. I mean, the obvious clue is it is not a photograph of this city as it is today. Oh, good. People didn't catch the bit where I did a giveaway of the question 38 earlier. That is lovely. I mean, it was really quick. This one, though. Okay, the man in black says he's got it. Which city is this? I know that some of you have been there. So there's a clue. It's a little smaller in this image. That's probably enough. Yeah, that's enough. And finally, question 40 in this quiz. True or false? Here's a photograph. True or false? This photograph is of Norway's Marianne Elise Mette and her dog Max Sirius, named after the star, Max Sirius, taking part in a sport called International Freestyle Heel Work to Music. This woman, true or false, is this Marianne Elise Mette from Norway and her dog Max Sirius taking part in a sporting event, the sporting event called international freestyle heel work to music? Is it though? Is it though? While you're pondering that, I'm definitely not just being lazy and just chucking that straight in there. I'm loving the feathery thing on her head. That's feathers or fur? I mean, that could be part of the question, couldn't it? I don't know whether it is, but could be. Dog's lovely. So, yeah, is that Max Sirius? Is that Marianne Elise Metti? Are they from Norway? And are they performing in, let's device from there. Are they performing in international freestyle heel work to music? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is question 40. So let's scroll back. Fuck, this is going to go for more than 2 hours. Let me power through this. I think I've made the questions too hard, too complicated, and I've worried too much about the lag. Okay. Oh, I went back to part A. Part B. Okay. Ready to go? Ready to go. Question 21. How many provinces does Canada have? The answer is 10. I should put the Platypus video back up, but no, let's power through. Question 21. Canada has 10 provinces, 1 point. Question 22. In which English city is the football club Aston Villa based? The answer is Birmingham. Birmingham for 1 point. Question 23. Rod Laver won 2 calendar year Grand Slams, the first 1962, the second for 1 point, 1969. Question 24. Excuse me. Question 24. Which Spice Girl did not have a solo UK #1 hit? The answer is Posh Spice, aka Victoria Beckham. Still, she got to root David Beckham. Although he's turned out to be a bit, yeah. Ah, well. There you go. Victoria Beckham or Posh Spice, 1 point, however you got it. Geography round. Limestone Coast, 1 point for the southeast of South Australia. It's the winemaking district that used to be called the Coonawarra, although extended a bit. It's also the name they use for that region for tourism purposes, and it's also the geological kind of structure of the thing. I want to say karst, K-A-R-S-T. I'm not sure whether that's correct in this instance, but I want to say it because it's a good word, karst. Limestone Coast, southeast of South Australia, gets you the point. And the bonus point for the big thing, it's the Big Lobster. Larry the Lobster at Kingston Southeast, because there's another Kingston in South Australia in the northern part of the state, or the mid-north of the state, because it's all fucking desert up there. So 1 point for the southeast of South Australia and 1 point for the Big Lobster. I'll give you another point, a third point, if you knew his name was Larry. Because why not? Question 26. Were these places in New Zealand in the North Island or South Island? So you're ready to go through them? There are 5 of them. Christchurch, South Island, 1 point. The Marlborough district, the wine growing district, South Island, 1 point. Canterbury Bight, South Island, 1 point. It's that big curving section of coast on the east coast of the South Island. That's Canterbury Bight, 1 point. Number 4, No, the other Kingston is not. There's a Kingston on KI? Rhombus isotope? No. What? Number 4, Portsmouth. This is a trick question. There is no place called Portsmouth in New Zealand. So no point for that unless you knew that. Unless you knew that it was a trick question and there's no Portsmouth in New Zealand, 3 points. Aren't I a bastard? That sets the scene for future quizzes, all right? Pay attention. And finally, Hastings, North Island. So the 5 there, south, south, south. Trick question for 3 points. North. Question 27, Tanzania again. It borders 7 countries, so a point each. Jim Campbell is asking, how can a bight be part of an island? How can it not be? Oh, it's not inland, it's not in the sea, it's... Question 27, Tanzania. 7 countries have land borders with Tanzania. A point for each of these. Kenya and Uganda in the north. I changed planes at Nairobi in Kenya. You can see giraffes from the airport. True story, except not at 5 a.m. Kenya, Uganda. Okay, that's still in the west. Rwanda, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. I will accept Congo. And to the south, Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique. That's more than 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. Okay, there's possibly 8 points for this question. Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique. 1 point each, possibly 8 points. Let's see how we go. 28. In which country would you find the temple known as Angkor Wat? Cambodia. What is the word for temple in Thai, Khmer, Lao? Don't know about Burmese. Pong will know. Anyway, a point for Cambodia. Question 29, what is the world's second deepest ocean trench? It's the Tonga Trench. Runs north from New Zealand all the way up to Tonga along the edge of where the earthquake subduction edge of the Tonga Trench. And just as background information, the bottom of it's about 10.8 kilometres down, which is quite a bit. And the deepest point is named Horizon Deep. So Jason Brown says put in 8 answers for Tanzania by accident. As it happens, only 3 were correct. I mean, is that cheating? I mean, if you just spray out the names of countries, I mean, if you just list as many African countries as you know and hope that maybe some of them are in the 8. I don't know about that, but Jason Brown, I think, has an honest mistake with this one, so that's fine. Question 29 was 1 point for the Tonga Trench. Question 30, current Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. I will accept Guterres, his surname, for the point. Antonio Guterres. Question 31, what is the 9-dash line? This is, according to Wikipedia, the undefined and vaguely located demarcation line used by China and Taiwan for their claims for a major part of the South China Sea. So if you look at, I'll just accept China's claims to the ocean, a disputed border of the South China Sea, all of those things. You know, I will trust you to know whether you understood what the deal is. So anyway, China has said, here's a line on the map which is traditionally drawn with 9 dashes, which is, this is China's claim, and it's way out in the ocean. And then Taiwan has theirs, and the Philippines has theirs, and Vietnam has theirs. Who else? I mean, all of the Indonesia, Malaysia, and that is what the South China Sea dispute is all about. So the 9-dash line is China's claim to territory in the South China Sea. China claim ocean. You've got it or you haven't. 1 point for that. Question 32, the all-important Eurovision question. Which of these countries has never hosted the Eurovision Song Contest? The answer was Albania. 1 point for Albania. The answers are Azerbaijan hosted it in 2012 in Baku. Denmark has hosted it 3 times in 64, 2001 and 2014. Estonia in 2002 and Serbia in 2008. So Albania, for the point, is the only one who has not. Question 33. The Finance Minister of Australia is Senator Simon Birmingham, as of a few weeks ago. Simon Birmingham, Senator from South Australia. He is Australia's Finance Minister. 1 point. Question 34. The autonomous region of China where most of the Uyghur population live, Xinjiang. Now, you may have had a go at spelling this. It's in the usual way of transliterating it, transcribing it, Xinjiang. I'm not going to go at you for spelling. Xinjiang, I think is the correct way of pronouncing it. Just Jim will know this. I'm pretty sure it's Xinjiang. 1 point. If you're in Sydney, by the way, a recommendation, there is the Kiroran Silk Road Uyghur restaurant in Chinatown, ironically. Lovely place. It's through a door and upstairs, just off the north end of Dixon Street. Lovely people. BYO alcohol, obviously, because they're Muslims. Ooh, I take that back. I don't even know whether they're licensed for BYO. I'll check that out. But the Kiroran Silk Road Uyghur restaurant. Just look, Uyghur restaurant, Chinatown, or Uyghur restaurant, Sydney. There's a couple of others as well. Question 35 in the final round. These names are all varieties of what? The answer is peach. The fruit peach. Question 36. How many moons does Saturn have? And I gave you the choice of 35, 47 or 82. The answer is 82 as of December the 20-something. The International Astronomical Union has confirmed they are now counting Saturn as 82 moons. Point for that. The picture question. No, that's not the picture question. This is the picture question. No, that is not the picture question. This is the picture question. Oh. This is the picture question. Okay. Point each for these. On the left, Indira Gandhi, former Prime Minister of India, assassinated by her own bodyguard. In the middle, Amelia Earhart, the American aviator, first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean solo, and then later lost somewhere when trying to cross the Pacific with her navigator. There was something of the year that said they may have found wreckage of her aircraft. Was it somewhere in Papua New Guinea? One of the islands off, somewhere in Micronesia? I can't remember, but that's Amelia Earhart. You can just see some rivets in her aircraft behind her. An amazing woman. Check out her aviation career. And on the right, Georgina Reinhardt. Gina Reinhardt, Executive Chairman of Hancock Prospecting, at some point at least the richest woman in Australia, and a major shareholder of both the Liberal Party and the National Party. So that's Indira Gandhi, Amelia Earhart, and Gina Reinhardt, 1 point each. Question 38. Dale Oliver was in the news. Why? I gave this away. There's Dale Oliver with the record biggest pumpkin in the Southern Hemisphere. There he is, the largest pumpkin in the Southern Hemisphere. It happened in the last week, presumably on the weekend. He broke his own record. He held the previous record. That pumpkin there weighs 867 kilograms. He beat his own previous record by more than 100 kilograms. Dale obviously has time on his hands. Whatever. Anyway, that is the record according to the Australian Giant Pumpkins and Vegetables Supporters Society. And you can imagine what their beatings are going to be like. But Dale Oliver there, he also holds the record for Australia's largest giant green squash, 612 kilograms, which he grew in 2015. I will accept for a point giant vegetable, big vegetable, something like that, because, I mean, that's really quite tragic, isn't it? Question 39. What is this city? Oh, what is this city? The answer is Londinium, or as we call it today, London. I will accept its modern name, London, for the point, but that is the Roman city Londinium. And I think you can see you're looking down the Thames there. It's interesting that Londinium was mostly on the south bank rather than the north at this point, I suppose because of that place to put the bridge across there, and all of those swamp bits you see up towards the upper left of the image. That's I guess now the Docklands or whatever. Those of you who know London better than me will know where all those places are. It's an interesting map. That map is by Rocio Espinapina, which is quite lovely. I really like that drawing. And the final one, true or false, is this Norway's Marianne Elise Meti and her dog Max Sirius taking part in a sport called International Freestyle Heel Work to Music? The answer is false. False. The dog's name is not Max Sirius, it's Very Vega. The rest of it's true, but no. False. Aren't I a bastard? So that's section 2. You're really annoyed about that last one. A few people are, aren't you? Because I know that was on the Twitters during the week. Even though it's from 2020, that is indeed Marianne Meti and her dog Very Vega. VEGA, Very Vega. Play on words from Norway, ladies and gentlemen. From Crufts, yes. From 2020, from last year's Crufts. So there's more to look forward to. Datto Dude says, woof. Woof to you, sir. Woof to you. Okay, so I think I added some things. I'm not quite sure. I added a couple of bonuses in there. It was 54 points for section 2. We added a bonus and we added a country. So 56 points are possible in section 2, which comes to a possible 87 points for the whole thing. I'm being called an utter bastard for that last question. Yeah, well, you got to pay attention to the news. If you can't remember the dog's name, the dog's doing all the work in this. The dog is, so doing all the work in this work. So let me know how you go. I think there's 56 points in that section for a total of 87. Okay, I'm seeing 10s and 20s coming through. 18 for the second half. Yeah, this is all way too hard. Father Carl, 18 for the second half. It's really tough, I grant you. bung them through. Tell us in the chat your totals, because I will watch them later. And I'm going to do what Nick's Pub Quiz does. I'm going to start kind of a newsletter. We'll get a leaderboard happening. How's that? We'll get a leaderboard happening. 50 nifty points for Pete Lawler. You got 50 out of the 85. That's very impressive. 19 in the second half. The 56 in the second half, some of those were really hard, right? Like I did name all of these things for points. So that's not too bad. So yes, David Heath says African geography way out. Yeah. Most of our African geography is way out. I'm going to get all didactic again on that. Look, while that is happening, I will say, look, keep those comments coming in. I will say thank you so much for joining me for this, the first episode of the 8 p.m. quiz. I think it's been fun. 45 people are still with us, which is great. That's better than most pub nights out, right? At the quiz, you get 50 people playing or whatever, except at really big pubs. So if you enjoyed it, please go to the link down there, which is stillgarian.com/tip. Throw a few bucks in. I mean, doesn't have to be a lot, just a few dollars. Buy me a drink, buy me a, it adds up, right? And, it'll encourage me to do this more. There are going to be 2 more pilot episodes next Thursday the 21st and Thursday the 28th of January, and then I'll see what happens after that. They'll all be on YouTube again. Please tell your friends if you enjoyed this, because, the more the merrier, right? And I think that's a lot of fun. I'm really pleased with how it's come together tonight. Thank you to the Snarky Platypus for his questions. Thank you all for playing. It's absolutely fabulous. So it's next week, same time, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, same channel, same YouTube. And until then, I'm Still Garian. Wash your hands, and to play us out, let's watch that whole doggy performance, right? This is Norway's Marianne, Elise Metti, and Very Vega competing at the Crufts Dog Show in April 2020. Woof. Good night.
An incredible performance there from Norway, Marianne and Vega. The crowd loved it. What will the judges say, Richard?
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what the judges say about that. Totally different from the last routine. Perhaps not quite so fluid. Using a natural dog move of the big outrun that the dog did round the ring, but that used the arena, and that's something that the judges are going to be looking for.